Coming up on News 15 today, another body has been recovered from the Sea Corps vessel last night, leaving 8 people still missing. The latest details ahead.
In April is Autism Awareness Month. We speak with one business who's bringing back a program specifically designed for those with special sensory needs.
And we're off to a cool start and a dry start to your day, and it looks to be sticking around for the rest of your Monday. Details just ahead.
From Fox 15 and KLAF NBC, News 15 Today starts now.
Good morning. You're watching News 15 Today. I'm Carter Simino.
Good morning. I'm Alex Forsell. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Well, an update for you this morning as the body of another member of the Sea Corps Power Lift boat's crew was found Sunday night, according to relatives, leaving 8 crew members still missing.
The body has yet to be identified. The Coast Guard and the company that owns the boat, Sea Corps, didn't immediately make an official announcement. The Sea Corps Power Lift boat capsized with 19 crew members aboard at about 4:30 on Tuesday.
6 crew members were rescued that day, and Sunday's discovery means that bodies of 5 others have been recovered in the days that followed. We will continue to update you here and online as the search for the remaining crew members continues.
Well, let's get a check of your weather this morning with Storm Track 15 meteorologist Adam Olivier.
Adam, a cool start to this morning.
Yeah, we're seeing some cool temperatures out there, especially north of I-10, Carter and Alex. You can see the 40s, 43 in Ville Platte. It is 48 in Opelousas, 51 in Jennings and in Lafayette and Abbeville, 52 in Breaux Bridge to start your morning off. Looking at 54 in New Iberia, 56 in Morgan City. One thing we're going to be watching through the day today is clouds returning to the region. Right now, there's not a whole lot of them. There's some high clouds over the area, but you look back towards Texas and you see some thicker cloud cover building on in. That's going to take some time, but eventually it's going to reach us. For much of the morning, though, we are looking at mostly sunny conditions. Towards noon, we could see a few more clouds rolling on in. Kind of a cool day, though. Our temperatures climbing up through the 50s into the 60s here. By 11 o'clock, we're at 66 degrees. Lunchtime, we're approaching 70 with some more of that sunshine still out there. But by the afternoon, things begin to change, and we start to see those clouds returning to the region. We're going to talk more on that and also potentially some more rain chances into the overnight. Details just ahead.
Thank you for that, Adam. We'll check back shortly. Switching gears, the UL Lafayette Police Department says another suspect has been arrested in connection with the April 9th Bourgeois Park shooting that claimed the life of John Mitchell Senegal Jr. This is 21-year-old Zakivrik Jadon Narkis, who was arrested on Friday by Calcasieu Parish Sheriff deputies.
ULPD officers transported Narcisse to the Lafayette Parish Correctional Center, where he was booked and charged. Authorities are still looking for Taekwon Triquel Marshall, who is wanted in connection to the shooting as well. Anyone with information is asked to contact ULPD Lieutenant Darren Zachary at 337-296-4375. Meanwhile, Lafayette firefighters responded to an apartment fire on Sunday afternoon at 1025 9th Street. Firefighters say the fire started on the stove and quickly spread to the ceiling and an attic after a pot of potpourri was left on a burner. Unfortunately, as you can see, the apartment sustained heavy damage and damaged 3 other apartments in the process. Thankfully, no one was injured, and this fire has been ruled an accident.
Well, Chuck E. Cheese is celebrating Autism Awareness Month with the return of Sensory Sensitive Sundays. This program is specifically designed for children with autism and other special sensory needs. Kids with autism get the chance to come in 2 hours early to play in a more calm environment. News 15 spoke with a manager at Chuck E. Cheese who says the joy that overcomes the kids is why she loves her job.
I've been here for 9 years. Chuck E. Cheese is a great company. They've been really excited about this, and I know all the people that work Sensory Sundays, the first Sunday of every month. I have the same people that ask to be on the schedule that month. We love it. The families are fantastic. The kids are always so excited, and it's a really good time for them to come, and they don't have to worry about anything. They can just run around and be themselves.
Well, Chuck E. Cheese plans to do this on the first Sunday of every month.
UL Sigma Chi fraternity hosted a dodgeball tournament Sunday to raise money for their philanthropy, the Huntsman Cancer Foundation. The National Cancer Institute says that in 2020, an estimated 1.8 million new cases of cancer were diagnosed in the United States, and 600,000 people died from the disease. News 15 spoke with one Sigma Chi member. He says they're honored to be a part of a fraternity committed to giving back to others.
It really means a lot to our fraternity. It's the best feeling to be able to give back to our community in ways more than just like talking to people, you know. We love raising money. This year alone, actually, we've raised $10,000 for this foundation since the beginning of fall.
Saturday was National Lineman Appreciation Day, and we're thankful to the men and women who are responsible for keeping our communities powered. News
15's Kenny Darr spoke with one Slemco representative about this dangerous line of work.
The lineman is one of the most dangerous jobs in America, and for good reason. These men and women often have to brace the elements of Mother Nature in order to restore power when it goes out. But the work often starts long before they're at the utility poles.
There's a very certain way that you have to go about doing it. You have to start at the power plant, the transmission lines, the substations, and then get out to the little areas where you have roads and houses and individual locations.
The lineman is often the person we see in our neighborhood after power goes out, but Mary Laurent says the lineman is just one part of the collective that make up the line worker.
You also have underground linemen who work in the pad mount transformers on the ground. You have the substation techs who actually make sure that the power comes into the substation and goes out along the feeders and the roadways. And then you also have the meter techs, and you also have the right-of-way tree trimmers.
She says the sheer amount of electricity is what makes this line of work so incredibly dangerous.
These men and women have to be specially trained so that they know how to work around the power lines, because to do it improperly means that they could be killed.
For line workers in Louisiana, they're especially important given the state's long hurricane season.
It's crucial, it's vital and critical that we have enough manpower, enough equipment, enough supplies and material to, if a storm should hit our service area, that we can restore power as quickly as possible.
Laurent says becoming a lineman is not a job, but a calling, one that requires you to be courageous and willing to face your fears. In studio, Kenny Darr, News 15.
Well, it's always nice to start off the week with coffee and food. Well, not for me and the first one in that particular, but Al Aber did visit Rev Coffee on Jefferson Street and talked to co-owners Nathaniel Johnson and Chris Pickle.
He talked about everything from coffee to the Cuban Revolution, which is their signature sandwich. We're going to find out all about it.
Hey guys, we're one of the coolest places in downtown. We're at Rev Coffee. I'm here with owners Nathaniel Johnson, Chris Pickle, and man, I wish you could smell what it smells like in here. So, Nathaniel, how in the world did you get in the coffee business?
I really love the whole atmosphere of coffee shops. I like what they're about and bringing people together to share over a cup of coffee. So I started about when I was 21. So about 14 years ago, I started my first shop.
Wow, and I got to tell you, I could love being around here because I love the smell. Chris, you do the roasting around here.
Yes, sir.
How much can you roast in this baby here?
About 30 pounds at a time is typically what I do, and that takes about 15 to 20 minutes or so. So I can pump out quite a bit in a day.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's a ton of coffee. So I got to ask you, Chris, as an expert, we were talking about this earlier. Dark roast versus light roast. Some people say, hey, not as much caffeine in dark roast. What do you say?
It's a little bit negligible, but I prefer medium roast to begin with anyway, just because there's more inherent flavor in the medium roast.
So we work on a morning show. We live and die by coffee, so we're always careful about the roast we choose. Hey, now we can drink any roast we want. So you got a lot of cool things going on here. One of the things we're going to talk about today, you have got a sandwich for the festival. Tell us about that.
Well, I would like the expert to speak on more about that, but it's basically a Cuban sandwich, and it's pulled pork, and it's delicious. So,
I love pork. I love pulled pork. It's going to be great. Now, I know you've got a really cool thing going on. We're going to explore some of the interesting drinks here today, but what I love what you're doing is that you have some of your employees come up with the drinks, right?
Yes, we sure do. We basically have a competition between all of our locations to come up with seasonal specialty drinks.
So we're going to explore coffee, sandwiches, everything here at Rev Coffee. Stick with us. We're going to go back to you in the studio. More News 15 today.
Well, to catch up on continued coverage of the latest news around Acadiana and the state, visit our website, klaf.com.
Still to come on News 15 today. Today brings the closing arguments of the Derek Chauvin trial. We recap the last 14 days of testimony later on in the show.
And a cool start to the morning out there. Temperatures dropping into the low 50s for much of it, but we are talking about possibly some showers later on tonight. Details just ahead.
But up next, an overnight shooting in Shreveport leaves 5 injured with no suspect. We have the latest details next. Stay with us. This is News 15 Today.
Welcome back. Overnight, a shooting in Shreveport sends 5 people to the hospital. Police say it happened around 9 p.m. Sunday night. Officers responded to the scene and were seen placing evidence markers near a liquor store. Police haven't yet released the condition of the victims or any word of suspects. It's still unclear what led to this shooting.
Well, daycare centers in the U.S. care for over 5 million kids right now, and they're struggling to stay open amid the coronavirus pandemic.
So the Biden administration is stepping in with an allotted $39 billion of COVID-19 relief funds to help those facilities.
The American Rescue Plan designated money for stabilization grants to help expand childcare and help low-income families pay for that childcare. Owner of Creative Minds and Loving Hearts Daycare Center, Brittany Estelet, says it's been a tough year, but she's fortunate.
I did lose 2 of my daycare kids due to their parents losing their jobs because of the pandemic. Thankfully, I was able to replace them rather quickly because other parents, their sitters closed for whatever reasoning, and they needed someone.
Jody Aycock, owner of Sarah's Daycare Center in Lafayette, says the pandemic hit them hard. At one point, child enrollment was so low, Aycock had to close his doors for a month.
After being in business for 31 years, we lost money in 2020 for the first time ever. At the end of March, we were open. We had a staff of 12 people here. We only had 7 children, so it didn't make sense to remain open.
Money from the American Rescue Plan will also help care providers pay business rent and invest in COVID-19 safety protocols. That's something Estelet says they've struggled with because cleaning products can be pricey and hard to find.
Lysol is basically out the question. The Lysol wipes especially, those were I guess you could say my best friend when it came to cleaning. And those, I still have trouble finding the Lysol wipes.
Well, those grants will also help pay for rehiring workers laid off because of the pandemic.
The Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families will give the grants to states, and then states will distribute those funds. Well, in just a few hours, prosecutors and the defense will get one last word with the jury in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. After closing arguments, the jury is expected to begin deliberations this afternoon.
The former Minneapolis police officer faces manslaughter and murder charges in the death of George Floyd. Jay Gray has been following the high-profile case and joins us now from outside the courtroom with a closer look at what comes next.
For 14 days, the jury heard from police officers, doctors, experts, and those that were there.
If you need a moment, I can take a minute.
From George Floyd's family, but not
I will invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege today.
Derek Chauvin. They've seen charts, graphs, maps, animation, and video, and now today, all of that evidence and testimony comes down to the last word from prosecutors.
The case has gone in as well as I could imagine for the state.
And the defense.
All he has to do is convince one juror, right? To have one juror doubt the prosecution's case, and we have a hung jury.
After closing statements and instructions from Judge Peter Cahill.
It's up to the jury how long you deliberate, how long you need to come to a unanimous decision on any count.
The jury will be sequestered in a city that is, in essence, sequestered as well. Businesses locked down, boarded up, security stepped up. So many here, including those closest to the case.
I'm very anxious and a lot of adrenaline rushing, wondering what's going to happen, what's going to be the outcome.
On edge for what comes next. Security is at an all-time high right now. More than 3,000 National Guard soldiers joining more than 1,500 police and federal agents on the ground here. Jay Gray, NBC News, Minneapolis.
Meanwhile, police continue to search for a gunman who killed 3 people in Austin, Texas yesterday. A shelter-in-place order for the northwest Austin area has been lifted as police transition to a fugitive search for the suspect, 41-year-old Stephen Broderick, who officials say is a former Travis County Sheriff's deputy. The investigators believe that this is not a random shooting, that Broderick knew the victims, though police have not yet said what the connection might be. Broderick is considered armed and dangerous.
Possible breakthrough in the damage control of carbon dioxide emissions. We take a look at the new technology later in the show. We're seeing quiet conditions around the area today, but will that be changing? We check in with Storm Track 15 meteorologist Adam Olivier after the break with more. Stay with us, 5:48 on your Monday morning.
Always tracking, always alerting. Here's your Storm Track 15 weather.
Well, after a really wet week last week, we're hoping for some much drier weather and maybe even some sunshine.
Yeah, let's check in with Storm Track 15 meteorologist Adam Olivier to see if there is some sunlight in our forecast. Adam, what can you tell us?
Well, Carter and Alex, we are starting to already see the first rays of sunlight out there, I-10 at Ambassador, and it's giving us a good picture of what's going on right now. There's not a whole lot in the sky. Yeah, there's a few high clouds off in the distance, but these are not the rain-producing type of clouds, and really, they won't even shade the sunlight that much. So through the morning time, we are expecting some quiet conditions, clear skies primarily. Looking at 43 degrees in Ville Platte right now, 47 in Opelousas, lower 50s right as you get to the I-10 corridor and then southward. So it is a cool start. You'll probably need a light jacket as you head out the door this morning. By the rest of today, though, we are looking at some clouds returning to the forecast. Now, again, through the morning time, we are going to see a lot of sunshine out there. 57 degrees by 9 o'clock, 69 by midday. 3 p.m. though, we start to see those clouds working their way back on in, temperatures climbing into the 70s. So not a bad looking day out there, but we are going to start to see more clouds rolling in tonight and also some rain chances. Yes, you see that there showing up on our map. 40s north of I-10 once again, 50s south of the interstate. And just looking at some of these rain chances, watch how they build on in. So by the time we hit 3 p.m., there's all the clouds. That's the white you see on the map here. We go into around 6 o'clock, still not a whole lot to track. But as we get later on into the nighttime hours, by midnight, yes, some light showers. These are not going to be heavy. Maybe they'll wet the ground, but that would be about it. But then all of this starts to move on out so that by the time you're waking up tomorrow morning, all the rain is out of here, and we're seeing sunlight returning to the forecast for your Tuesday. By midday, we should see plentiful sunshine, and that lasts through the end of the day, too. So a high of 77 tomorrow, looking pretty nice. But as we go forward in time, we see some chillier temperatures here. 40s showing up Wednesday morning and Thursday morning with lots of sunshine. And then to the weekend, at least Friday and Saturday, we are going to be tracking storm chances here across the area, though highs getting back to where we would see them at this time of the year in spring in the upper 70s and lower 80s.
Well, it's just nice to know that just to be able to see the sun actually on your weekly forecast, Adam. That's exciting news.
Definitely.
Exciting news indeed. Yes, looking forward to it, Adam. Thank you for that. We'll be checking in with you in just a bit.
Yep. Stay with us, though. We'll be right back with more News 15 today. Welcome back to News 15 today. The U.S. emits some 5 billion tons of carbon monoxide into the atmosphere each year. But there's new technology that could help undo some of this damage, and tech titans like Elon Musk and Bill Gates are top investors. It's called direct air capture, and at this plant in Iceland, huge fans are sucking carbon dioxide directly out of the air, mixing it with water, and pumping it deep underground where it is turned into stone.
Recently, direct air capture was a niche technology, but it is going mainstream fast. The Orca plant here in southwest Iceland is now the world's largest direct air capture site, and the technology is headed to the United States as well.
One last look at that forecast shows that we're going to see a few clouds building in later on this afternoon, mild conditions and a bit of a breeze out there as well. So not a bad looking day overall. We are just going to start to see some changes tonight with some few showers out there.
All righty, Adam, thanks very much. Well, our coverage continues in the next hour and anytime on our website, klaf.com.
Yes, we've got more local headlines coming up. Yeah, Mike, that is awful. Like, I feel so, like, don't stay here. Like, you do not have to, we will figure something out. Why? I can't think of anything worse.
Ugh. Hey, are we loading the 6 o'clock show? Okay, the 5:30 is in the prompter right now.
In the 6th?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna text Britt. I'm texting Britt.
Okay.
What did she say?
From Fox 15.